What's up, good people? What's up, good people? It's your boy, Dr. Leroy McKenzie Jr. in the brand new suite. We're in the lab today. It's raining outside today, so couldn't get to walk in on the outside, but I did walk inside today. So we in the lab. We in the brand new suite lab coming to you, the impact builder, on this Finish Strong Friday. That's what we do every Friday. On Friday we finish strong, and y'all know we only got it's a little less than 6 weeks now. We're in that 6 week that we're finishing up with 2023. We'll be finishing up with 2023. So what are you doing to finish this year strong? What are you doing to finish 2023 strong as an entrepreneur, as a leader? Y'all know what we've been doing all week long. We've been honing in, we've been focusing in on be uncommon. Be uncommon. Don't be like everybody else. That's what we've been talking about. As leaders, as entrepreneurs, you're not common. You're not the everyday, ordinary, average person. You can't be. As an entrepreneur, as a leader, you can't be common. You can't be like everybody else. You're not like everybody else. We talked yesterday about thinking different. With Think Different Thursday. But today is Finish Strong Friday. That's what separates you from everyone else. The common, that separates you, uncommon, from those that are common. And that's in finishing strong, the mindset that you have, the mindset that you take into every single day. So this week we talked about curiosity. This is what makes you as a leader, what makes you as an entrepreneur uncommon. So we've been talking about that all week. We talked about curiosity. We talked about willing to experiment. Are you willing to experiment with different things? Try different things out. See what works, see what kind of sticks. Being comfortable with failure, not in failure. Being comfortable with failure, because failure is a part of the process. Yes, failure is a part of the process. Anybody that tells you that you deem to be successful and they tell you that they haven't failed, they're lying to you. There's not one person, there's not one organization that has not experienced failure as a part of their process of growing and being successful. I promise you. It's just not true. It's not true. So being comfortable with failure, not in failure. Decisiveness. Being decisive about the decisions that you're making. Gather the information. Measure the information that you've gotten, and you move decisively, moving forward with the information that you have. Make a decision on what it is that you want to do. And it's okay. It's okay if it does not work out initially. What do? You go back to experimenting. You go back to seeing what happens next. And so today, I wanted to talk about this last part of being uncommon, or be uncommon, and that's your long-term focus. As an entrepreneur, as a leader, you don't just see the here and now, but you're looking for, and in the long term, you're looking the extended period of time. You don't just look, for this year. You're looking 5 years, 10 years down the road. I told you I have a business associate of mine. He had a 20-year plan for his business. He was thinking 20 years ahead of where he was when he started. And that's how we have to be as leaders and as entrepreneurs. Thinking long term. This isn't a sprint. This is a marathon. As entrepreneurs, as leaders, you've always got to see that. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Which means it's not the short haul, but it's the long term. Now you can have your short term goals, and that's fine. That's excellent. But you want to have the long term focus. And here's the thing, y'all. This is what separates the common entrepreneur or common regular employee from the from the everyday average mediocre person. And I heard one of my colleagues in a meeting that we were having, and he said this. He said, poor people think day to day. He said, poor people think day to day. Mediocre, average people think month to month. He said, rich people think year to year. He said, but wealthy people think decade to decade. Poor people, day to day. Mediocre, average people, month to month. Rich people, year to year. Wealthy people, decade to decade. Which one are you? Are you thinking day to day? Are you thinking month to month? Are you thinking year to year? Or are you thinking decade to decade? That's what you have to decide today. What category have you put yourself in, or do you put yourself in? That's your homework, simple homework for today, for this weekend. Are you thinking day to day? Are you thinking month to month? Are you thinking year to year? Or are you thinking decade to decade? That's how you understand how to be uncommon. Uncommon people, uncommon organizations think decade to decade. Yeah, you can see the smaller pictures, and you should, because those are the aspects of your business. But you have the long-term focus in mind. I promise you, Steve Jobs wasn't just looking day to day when he started Mac, when he was thinking about Apple. He was thinking decade to decade. Where are we going to be 10 years from now? And you can reverse engineer that. Where is it that you want to be 10 years from now? In 2023? In 2033, where do you want your business to be? In 2033, where do you want to be? And everything that you do from this point forward puts you in that position to be where it is that you say you want to be in 2033. And when you make those decisions, that decisiveness that you want to have, you want to ask yourself this question: does this decision move me towards where I say I want to be in 2033? That's how you make those decisions. When you're experimenting, when you're having the curiosity, where does this put me 10 years from now? Decade to decade, y'all. Decade to decade. And here's the great thing. When you measure and you look at whether you think it was a failure or successful, you can always measure and adapt. Because things are going to change in 10 years. I promise you, in a decade, 10 years from now, we're not going to, as a society, we're not going to look like what we look like now. We don't look like what we looked like 10 years ago. 10 years ago, we weren't doing this. We weren't doing these lives 10 years ago. So think that the dynamics of your business and your brand are going to change. The dynamic of who you may be working with, those things may change. So you got to see those things and see where you want to be. And that's what you do as you're moving along and the decisions that you make. Think long term. What's your long-term focus? 10 years from today, November 10th, 2033, where do you see you your business, and your brand. Wealth thinks in decades. If you're going to be successful, and when I say wealth, I'm not talking about just financial wealth. I'm talking mental wealth. I'm talking physical wealth. What do you want your body to look like in 10 years? Your physical wealth, your emotional wealth, all of those things. Where do you see yourself 10 years from now? As an entrepreneur, as a leader, where do you want to be? And every single year leading up to that, you should be making decisions that put you in the position to be there. That's what being uncommon does for you, or will do for you. This week has been just about not being like everybody else. As an entrepreneur, as a leader, you can't be like everybody else. You see the bigger picture. You see the long-term picture. And not everybody does that. Not everybody does the vision. Not everybody has a vision. But that's what makes you uncommon. Because you have the vision. You have the plan. You're not afraid to experiment. You're asking the questions. You're curious about how things work. I was talking to, real quick, and then I'm going to be finished. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine yesterday, and I was telling him about me growing up. And I was just this young boy, and I would meet my mother downtown because she worked for Social Security. I would meet her downtown. Have to meet her downtown, and I would grab the USA Today newspaper. And the first section I went to wasn't the sports section. The first section I went to was the money and finance section. You know why? Because I was interested in how money works and the impact and influence that it had on the things that we do, the things that, that we buy and purchase and everything like that. What made prices go up? What made prices go down? All of those intricate parts about money. I was inquisitive. I was curious about it. And I always had this business curiosity. And why did they do this? Or why did they do that? Or I would have made this decision as I've written my Building a 21st Century book series. I was asking questions about, well, I would have done this if I owned that business, or if I was in that industry. I would have done that. That's not, I was always experimenting about what I would do. I was curious. I was experimental. And then when it came for me to actually put my decisions into action, there were some times that I was successful. There were some times that I failed. There were some great things. There were some great things. Good decisions. There were some bad decisions. There were some things that that were great decisions. There were some decisions that when I reflected back on them, I was like, okay, well, that wasn't the right decision to make for that. But the key to all of it was being decisive. And not just thinking from day to day, but thinking month to month, year to year, decade to decade. Thinking of where I wanted to be, where I wanted my business to be, where I wanted my brand to be, where I wanted to be from a personal perspective. That's what being uncommon is about, y'all. This is what I did all of this for, was to get you thinking about being uncommon. As a leader, as an entrepreneur, you're uncommon. You're not like everybody else. And we act like it. And I promise you, if you have these attributes, and these are things that you kind of have as a part of you, you're uncommon. It's going to separate you from everybody else. It'll separate you even within your entrepreneurship and even within your leadership. It'll separate you. Because I promise you, not every entrepreneur, not every leader is doing these things. They're not curious. They're not experimental. They're afraid of, they're afraid of failure. They aren't decisive. Well, they're indecisive. And they're not thinking long term. So I hope you wrote these principles down so that you can look at them as you build your business and your brand, as you build, your family, your family structure and all of those different aspects of it. Don't be afraid to be uncommon. Don't be afraid to be uncommon. So go into this weekend thinking, how do I be uncommon? I'm not going to be like everybody else. It's cool to be uncommon. It's your boy, Dr. Leroy McKenzie Jr., the Impact Builder. And before I go, one real thing. The picture that I have up this week, or today, I'm sorry, specifically today. I had the other ones that I have, and you might have seen, you might be familiar with some of them. You might not be familiar with them. And I did that intentionally because you might not know who they are. But the one specifically today that I put up is a young lady. She is the youngest. Go take a look at it. She's the youngest franchisee of Chick-fil-A. Now, if she were just a common person, she would have never achieved that in her life. But I promise you, she was curious. She was experimental. She was unafraid. She was comfortable with failure. She was decisive. And she had a long-term focus. Take a look at each of the pictures if you aren't familiar. You can ask what the names are. Put in the comments. You're asking who those particular people are on each day, because I did a different one on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Be uncommon. It's your boy, Dr. Leroy McKenzie Jr., the Impact Builder. We'll see y'all on Monday. Do something fun this weekend. Have fun. Enjoy yourself. But be uncommon. We'll see y'all soon. Have a great day.